I swear by Almighty God that the evidence that I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Mr. Bell, we've all heard of your friendship with Miss Emily Franklin. Now, if you would, please tell the jury how often you visited her.
Frequently.
Why was that?
She was awfully kind to me, and I got rather fond of her. She was like my Aunt Betsy.
And that was an aunt for creation.
Yes, she was a dear. Miss French reminded me of her.
Now, you've heard Janet Mackenzie say that Miss French thought you were a single man, and that there was some question of marrying you. Is any of that true?
Of course not. It's an absurd idea.
Miss French knew you were a married man.
Yes.
So there was never any question of marriage between you.
Of course not. As I told you, she treated me as though she was an indulgent aunt, almost like a mother.
And in return, you did everything you could for her.
I was very fond of her.
Yes. Now, Mr. Vernon, would you please, in your own words, tell the jury what exactly happened on the night of October 14th?
Well, I'd come across a kind of cat brush, a new thing in that line, and I thought it would please her. So I took it along with me that evening. I had nothing else to do.
About what time was that?
About 8 o'clock I got there. I showed her the cat brush. She was pleased. We tried it out on one of the cats, and it was a success. Then we played a game of Double Demon. Miss Finch was awfully fond of Double Demon. And then I left.
Now then,
Sir Wilfrid, I don't understand this piece of evidence at all. What's a cat brush?
It's a brush for brushing cats.
Oh.
Sort of brush comb combination. She kept 8 cats. 8 of them. The house smelled.
yes.
I thought it might be useful.
Did you see Janet Mackenzie?
No, Miss French let me in herself.
Did you know Janet Mackenzie was out?
Well, I didn't think about it.
At what time did you take your leave of Miss
Just before 9, I walked her.
French? How long did that take you?
I should say between 20 minutes and a half hour.
So you would have reached home...
I reached home at 25 minutes past 9.
And your wife, I will call her your wife, was there when you got in?
Yes, of course she was. I think she must have gone mad.
Yes, never mind that now. Let's just get on with your story. Now, when you got in, did you wash your coat?
No, of course I didn't.
Who did wash your coat?
Romaine did. The next day. She said I got blood on it from a cut on my wrist.
A cut on your wrist?
Yes, here. You can still see the mark.
Where were you when you first heard of the murder?
I read it in the paper the following day.
How did that make you feel?
I was stunned. I could hardly believe it. I was awfully upset too. The paper said it was a burglary. I never dreamed of anything else.
What happened next?
The paper said the police were anxious to question me, so I went along to the police station and I made a statement.
And so you went to the police station and you gave a statement?
Yes.
You were not nervous or reluctant to do so?
No, of course not. I wanted to help in any way possible.
Did you ever obtain any money from Miss French?
No.
Were you aware of the fact that Miss French had made a will in your favor?
She said she was ringing up her lawyers and was going to make a new will. I asked if she often made new wills, and she said from time to time.
Did you ever discuss the terms of this new will with her?
I swear I didn't.
Did Miss French ever suggest to you at any time that she would leave you anything at all in her will?
No.
Now, Mr. Vernon, you've heard the evidence in court that your wife, the woman you presume was your wife, has given.
Yes. Yes, I had. I don't understand.
Now, Mr. Vernon, I realize you are very upset, but I need you to set all emotion aside. To answer this question as plainly and simply as you can. Was what that witness said true or untrue?
No, of course it wasn't
You
true.
arrived home at 9:25 last night and that night and had supper with your wife.
Yes.
Did you go out again?
No.
Are you right or left-handed?
Right-handed.
I will ask you one more question, Mr. Bow. Did you kill Emily French?
No, I did not.
Have you ever tried to get money from anybody?
No.
How soon in your acquaintance with Miss French did you learn she was a very wealthy woman?
I didn't know she was rich when I first went to see her.
But having gained that knowledge, you decided to cultivate her acquaintance further.
Well, I suppose it seems that way, but I really liked her, you know. Money had nothing to do with it.
You would have continued to visit her, no matter how poor she might have been.
Yes, I would.
You yourself are in poor circumstances?
You know I am?
Kindly answer yes or no.
You must answer the question yes or no.
Yes.
What salary do you earn?
Well, I haven't got a job at the moment. Haven't had one for some time.
Were you recently discharged from your position?
No, I wasn't. I quit.
At the time of your arrest, how much money had you in the bank?
Actually, only a few pounds. I was expecting more money in a week or two.
Oh, how much?
Not very much.
I put it to you, you were pretty desperate for money.
Not desperate. Well, I felt a bit worried.
You were worried about money. You meet a wealthy woman. You court her acquaintance assiduously.
You make it sound so twisted. I tell you, I liked her.
Well, we have heard Miss French consulted you on her income tax return.
Yes, she did. You've seen those forms. You can't make head or tail of them. Or she couldn't.
Janet McKenzie has told us Miss French was a very good businesswoman, well able to deal with her own affairs.
Well, that isn't what she said to me. She told me those forms worried her terribly.
In filling up her income tax forms for her, you no doubt learned the exact amount of her income.
No?
No.
Well, I mean, naturally, yes.
Yes. Very convenient. How is it you never took your wife to visit Miss French?
I don't know. Never seemed to crop up.
You say Miss French knew you were a married man,
Yes.
and yet she never asked you to bring your wife with you to the house.
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't think she liked women very much, I don't think.
She preferred, shall we say, personable young men. And you never insisted on bringing your wife.
Oh, of course not. Well, I mean, she knew my wife was a foreigner, and I think she rather assumed my wife and I didn't get on.
Did you give her that impression?
No, I didn't. But, well, I think it was rather wishful thinking on her part.
You mean she was infatuated with you?
No, not infatuated. But, well, it was like the mother, the way a mother can be with a son.
How?
You know, where she doesn't want him to like a girl or get engaged or anything of that kind.
You hoped, didn't you, for some monetary advantage from your friendship with Miss French?
Not in the way you mean.
Not in the way I mean. You seem to know what I mean better than I know myself. In what way did you hope for monetary advantage? I repeat, in what way did you hope for monetary advantage?
Well, there's a sort of thing I've invented, a windscreen wiper for snow. And I was looking for someone to invest in that, to finance it, and I'd hoped Miss French would. But that wasn't the only reason I went to see her. I tell you, I liked her.
Yes, we've heard that quite often, haven't we? How much you liked her.
Well, it's true.
I believe about a week before Miss French's death, you made inquiries of a travel agency about particulars on foreign cruises.
Supposing I did. It's not a crime, is it?
No. Many people go on cruises when they can pay for it, but you couldn't pay for it, could you, Mr. Vogel?
I told you I was hard up.
And yet you came into that particular travel agency with a blonde, a strawberry blonde, I understand.
A strawberry blonde, Mr. Myers?
A term for a lady with reddish fair hair, my lord.
I thought I knew all about blondes. Strawberry blonde. Anything else?
Well,
My wife isn't a blonde, and it was only a bit of fun anyway.
so you admit that you made inquiries not of cheap trips, but of the most expensive luxurious cruises. How did you expect to pay for such a thing?
I didn't.
I submit that you knew that in about a week you would inherit a rather large sum of money from a trusting elderly lady.
I didn't know any such thing. I was just feeling a bit fed up, is all. I saw the poster in the window. coconuts and palm trees and blue seas, and well, I went in and asked. The clerk gave me a sort of supercilious look. I was a bit shabby, but it riled me. So I began to put on a bit of an act, asking for the most deluxe tours, expensive cabin on the boat deck.
You really expect a jury to believe that?
I don't expect anyone to believe anything, but that's the way it was. It was childish and make-believe, if you like, but it was fun and I enjoyed it. I wasn't thinking of killing anyone or inheriting any money.
So it's just a remarkable coincidence that Miss French is killed, leaving you her heir a few days later?
I tell you, I didn't kill her.
Your story is that on that evening you left Emily French's house at 9:04, that you walked home and arrived at 9:25, and remained in the rest of the evening.
Yes.
But you have heard the woman, Romaine Hauger, rebut that story in court. But you heard her say that you came home not at 9:25, but at 10:10.
It's not true.
And that you had blood on the cuffs of your coat, and that you definitely admitted to her that you had killed Emily
It's
French.
not true. Not one word of it is true.
Can you suggest any reason why this young woman who has been passing as your wife should deliberately give the evidence she has given if it were not true?
No, I can't. It's the awful part. There's no reason. I think she must have gone mad.
She must have gone mad. She seemed extremely sane and self-possessed, but insanity is the only reason you can suggest.
I don't understand. My God, what's happened to her? What's changed her?
Very effective, I am sure, Mr. Bull. But in this court, we deal in facts. And the fact is, Mr. Bull, that we only have your word for it that you left Emily French's house at the time you say you did, that you walked home and arrived at 9:25, and did not go out again.
Someone must have seen me in the street or going into the house.
One would certainly think so, but the only person who did see you come home that night says that it was at 10:10, that there was blood on your clothes.
I cut my wrist.
A very easy thing to do in case questions should arise.
You twist everything. You twist everything I say. You make me sound like a different kind of person from what I am.
You cut your wrist deliberately.
No, I didn't do anything. But you make it sound as though I did. I can hear it myself.
You came home at 10:10.
No, I didn't. I didn't do anything. You've got to believe me. You've got to believe me.
You killed Emily French.
I didn't do it. I didn't kill her. I've never killed anyone. Oh, it's like a nightmare. It's like some